What? To prove that there was packages delivered to her house? We had FedEx receipts. We had applied pharmacy records. He tells you in his argument about how there's gallons of propofol. But now you know there has to be gallons of propofol if Dr. Murray's telling the truth about what he gave Michael Jackson. You know, one of the things that they tried to, and they didn't argue this, maybe there's a reason. There's this tremendous desire to paint Dr. Murray as this villain. They want to paint a perfect villain and a perfect victim, as if we're in a television show, and we want to break for commercial and want to feel good about the movie as it ends. There's no perfect villain, and there's no perfect victim. They tell you that Dr. Murray, they try to imply to you that Dr. Murray ran from the hospital. But now, you saw what they showed you. They showed this picture, this grainy picture of him in the waiting area. And he's leaving the hospital. And he's going outside. And they say, well, where's that lead? It goes outside. He's on the run. He's on the run. And then you find out later that that's the direct route to the West Wing. And you find out that that's exactly where he went, because at 5:02, that's where he was. And then we have to bring in Amir Rubin to tell you that Dr. Murray went over there and talked to the lawyers about the press release. But if we hadn't done all that, what would be the impression that was left? What would be the unfair impression that was left for you? Why? What's the need to do that? And by the way, when could Dr. Murray have left the hospital? It was literally 2.5 hours when we had the last video since Michael Jackson was pronounced dead. Dr. Murray was the only man at the hospital, the only person at the hospital without transportation, because he rode in the ambulance. They tell you about Michael Amir saying that Dr. Murray wanted to go back to the house. Well, it's believable that Dr. Murray wanted to go back to the house to get his car. His car was there. It's believable that Dr. Murray wanted to go home. It's believable that he wanted to go eat. It's not believable that Michael Amir, when Dr. Murray says to him, allegedly, I want to go back to the house to get some cream, that he was so disturbed by that he locked the house down and then told Fahim Muhammad to lie to Dr. Murray. And yet at the same time on that day, spoke to the police twice, and he never once mentioned it. It was the trio of Fahim Muhammad and Michael Amir Williams and Alberto Alvarez in their lawyer's office over 2 months later that came up with this. And who would know about cream being used by Michael Jackson? Michael Amir Williams would. Everybody's on the team. Everybody's willing to go for it. I want to play you this voicemail again. Did we fail?
Dr. Murray, it's Frank DeLeo, Michael's manager. I'm the short guy with no hair. Would you please call me at 213-304-9110. I'm sure you're aware he had an episode last night. He's sick. Today's Saturday. Tomorrow I'm on my way back. I'm not going to continue my trip. I think you need to get a blood test on him today. We got to see what he's doing. All right, thank you.
Dr. Murray was jettisoned in this whole situation 2 months prior. What Dr. Murray knew about Michael Jackson's situation was what he knew from his treatment of him in Vegas. He did not know. And Randy Phillips told you that rather than tell him about what Michael Jackson was doing in the background, he just simply cryptically said that he's seeing Arnold Klein. So on June 19th, this voicemail was sent from Frank DeLeo. And it said, and you heard it, he says, we need to figure out what he's doing. Well, it's really not what he's doing. It's what's being done to him. See, Michael Jackson, and you can tell this by Kenny Ortega's email, and Randy Phillips denied this, of course. Michael Jackson was under a tremendous, abnormal, impossible amount of pressure by AEG. And it wasn't just related to his trips to Arnold Klein's office. It was related to his appearances at rehearsals. So when Kenny Ortega says in his email to Randy Phillips, we threatened to pull the plug. You can read the email. It's number 1 on the exhibit list. We tried tough love. You can sense, you can see what Michael Jackson is going through during this entire process. Now, during this period of time as well, Michael Jackson is visiting Arnold Klein, according to Fahim Muhammad, essentially every day. And you saw at least a sample of what was happening in Michael Jackson's life. But as I told you in the opening statement, Michael Jackson compartmentalized these issues. Dr. Murray is a part of that. Now, let's be clear about what Dr. Murray actually did. You can judge, and I can't disagree, whether giving propofol in the home is an appropriate thing to do. And for 60 days, he did that. Infusion for 60 days. But Dr. Murray provided a drug, not a controlled substance, to a patient for a specific medical condition. He did not give Demerol to Michael Jackson. He did not provide him drugs to fuel some addiction. And if Dr. Murray were inclined to do that, then you would have seen that. So Dr. Murray goes home during the day, and the other life is taken over. The crux of this case, the ultimate crux of this case, when it all comes down to it, is the prosecution believes and will argue to you that that Dr. Murray should be responsible for Michael Jackson self-administering.